Thank the member.
Have a good conference.
I call the Honourable John Banks.
Mr Speaker, much of this debate has been about New Zealand's relationship with our Pacific neighbours, and so it should have been. The ACT Party acknowledges the importance of these relationships. We celebrate the contribution that Pacifica communities have made to New Zealand. They have enriched our society and added to our cultural vibrancy. As Mayor of Auckland for 2 terms, I had the pleasure of working with and getting to know and respecting greatly the Pacific community of that wonderful multicultural city from where I hail. In my contribution, I want to focus on the obligation we have to our Pacific neighbours and our Pacific families in our local communities and across this country, in particular in the education system. Every New Zealand child deserves a world-class education. There's not much more we can give a young child than unconditional love in the home and the family and a world-class education. And I know that Pacific families are signed up to that proposition. We have much to do to make this a reality for all our young people. So first, Mr Speaker, the good news. Pacifica education outcomes have improved in all parts of the education system across this country. The latest data shows that the number of 2 to 4-year-old Pacifica enrolments in early childhood education increased by 15.5% between 2009 and 2011. The proportion of all Pacifica learners achieving NCEA Level 2 qualifications or equivalent increased from 55% in 2009 to 63% in 2011. Pacifica learner take-up of the Youth Guarantee Initiative was 20% of all young people participating. Pacifica learners with NZQF Level 5 have increased from 18% to 28% in 2011. I'd like to acknowledge the efforts of this national-led government, and in particular the Minister of Education, for her efforts in raising achievement for Pacifica learners. She is committed to that cause. I would also like to acknowledge the efforts of our teachers and the wider Pacifica community for their efforts in helping to raise learner achievements amongst Pacifica kids. Now for the bad news. Despite all these improvements, significant challenges remain. While New Zealand performs well on the average in the OECD PISA study, we rate poorly on equity, 24th in the world, equal with the US. If we were to take the results for Pacifica on their own, we would be 35th in the world. Although Pacifica participation in early childhood education has increased, it is still the lowest for all population groups. Significant disparities remain evident in literacy and numeracy achievements. Disparity in achievement levels for Pacifica students are significant at the NCEA level and widen further at higher qualification level. There is much work to be done, and we need to embrace this challenge. There's a wonderful saying that high tides rise all boats. And we know when Pacifica communities are doing well, then the education system in this country is going to even do better. We know that when Pacifica kids do well in Auckland, Pacifica kids are going to do well across the nation. And when they're doing well across the nation, the high tide will lift the boats across the Pacific countries that you represent. Now can I turn to further good news? Partnership schools are coming and they can innovate. We've had very good interest from Pacifica groups around partnership schools. They can focus on creating a learning environment where every Pacifica learns to succeed. They can employ teaching staff who understand and embrace cultural difference, and cultural difference is critical to this multicultural society. In short, they can make a real difference to Pacifica learners, and I'd like to thank the Partnership Schools Working Group, and in particular Dr. Margaret Southwick, a significant Pacifica education, for her great contribution in this policy design. This government is absolutely committed to accelerating achievement for Pacifica learners through the Partnership Schools Initiative and Pacifica Education Plan. I am absolutely committed to making sure that every young child, including the great community of
Call the Honourable Peter Dunn.
Mr. Speaker, can I